Winning comes in all shapes and sizes. Every day there's an opportunity for a win, just like scratchers from the Virginia Lottery. Everyday grab and go, everyday giftable, everyday fun. It's where anticipation meets instant gratification. And they're satisfying to scratch, no matter the outcome. Like the new Virginia Lottery Scratcher Colossal Cash. It's loaded with $100 to $500 prizes. Now, that's an everyday win. Drive to the nearest Virginia Lottery retail location and pick up a scratcher today. Odds of winning any prize, 1 in 3.21.
Welcome to Wager Talk TV. I am Kelly Stewart, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dave Koken. Dave, welcome. You have absolutely been crushing it this year in baseball. Currently #1 in MLB this season over at Wager Talk, 72%, 13-5-2. And I can attest to this because I get your daily emails. So kudos to you.
Yeah, and last year was good too because I was #1 last season. I'm an old seam head. I really am. I'm when I was younger, and of course it was way before the internet. It was basically way before dirt was invented. But I was get the morning paper, pour over the box scores from the prior night. I've always been into baseball. I love the game, and that hasn't changed. So it's fun for me, and the fact that I can make some money betting it is certainly a plus. I probably wouldn't like it as much if I lost.
Yeah, Dave, I've noticed recently you've been focusing on first fives
in
particular. Can you touch on that before we get this video started?
Yeah. I mean, if you follow baseball even a little bit, you know that the volatility factor in bullpens is it's increasing by the year. And there's a reason for this, which I talked about on one of the daily baseball shows. What is it? We call it First Pitch. First Pitch, yeah. Most bullpens are comprised of failed starting pitchers. Very few guys come out of high school or college as relief pitchers. They're drafted as starters. And if they're not successful, they eventually get shuttled off to the bullpen, mostly because they only have one real good pitch, maybe two. And it's tough to be a successful starter when you don't have a deep arsenal, unless you've got absolutely incredible stuff with your best pitch. So these guys end up in the bullpen, and quite honestly, they're just not that good. So from one night to the next, you can get completely erratic performances. So over the last 2 or 3 seasons, I've gotten more and more into omitting or just ignoring the full games. And since a lot of what I do is starting pitcher focused or starting pitcher centric, I'd rather just go with the first 5 innings and take the bullpen out of the equation as much as possible. And so far, so good with that philosophy.
Yeah, I love to hear that, Dave. As somebody who's been on the wrong side of many bullpen implosions over the years, that's why I kind of gave up on handicapping baseball. Plus, doesn't hurt when I have guys like you, again, sending me those daily emails. You mentioned starting pitching is your focus, so let's get into that. Let's start off with some velocity.
Yeah, one of the things I want to look at on a daily basis is to see if starting pitchers are showing an increase or decrease from what is their norm in velocity. And this is really important because the game of baseball has changed in the last few years. It's become a 3 true outcomes sport. 3 true outcomes being walks, strikeouts, and home runs. And if you have diminished velocity, you better be commanding all your pitches because these guys are swinging for the fences. And if you're missing location and you're not able to get it past them, ball's going over the fence. It's just the way baseball's configured now. So I like to look and see if there are some telltale signs of a pitcher who might be on the uptick or the downtick, particularly the downtick in terms of their velocity. Now, one thing to bear in mind, though, and this is early in the season, is that you'll see a decent number of pitchers early in the season. And if you look at their velocity from the prior season, it's like, well, this guy's down like 1.5 miles per hour across the board. Don't chisel that in stone early in the season. A lot of guys just take some time to get back up to their norm coming out of spring training. So what you want to see is some consistency in terms of the velocity before really making a determination if a guy's lost something or gained something as far as that velocity goes. But that's certainly one factor that I'm looking at with starting pitching is the velocity.
Dave, you mentioned hard hitters. Let's talk a little bit about contact rates, hard hit percentage, BIP, and please let our audience know what that is.
BABIP is batting average on balls in play. And you have basically a league average. And what you're looking for here is aberrations, where you've got, a league average should be around 280, 290, right in that range. And you got some poor guy who's out there with a 400 BABIP. Well, you want to find out, first of all, why is it 400? Is their hard hit rate up, which indicates that things might not be good, or are they just getting unlucky? And the reverse can be true as well. You might see a guy who's got like a 150 batting average on balls in play. Well, that's an aberration, and that's not going to continue. That's just a luck factor thing in most cases. There are exceptions. You take a guy like Corbin Burns from the Brewers. I think his batting average on balls in play is less than 100 right now. Well, he's throwing the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour wherever he wants, so good luck trying to get a hard hit off that. But for most guys, this is a telling stat, and it is one of those regression stats where if somebody's way off in batting average on balls in play from what should be the norm, you can expect some regression. You might want to wait to see when regression starts before guessing when it starts. But generally speaking, there's going to be a regression to the norm, either positive or negative, and you can make some money because these guys will be either overvalued or undervalued as far as the market's concerned.
All right, Dave, and one of the things that you look at lastly is diminishing returns. You like to follow pitching patterns for live betting.
Yeah, and this takes into consideration what guys do on the norm in terms of their first time through the order, second time through the order, third time through the order, or if you want to go by pitch counts, maybe 1 through 25, 25 through 50, 50 through 75. The managers pay very close attention to this too. You go back to last year's World Series, and I know everybody ripped Cash for taking Blake Snell out of the game in the World Series against the Dodgers. What are you doing? He's got a shutout. He's given up like 2 hits. But Blake Snell has a very clear pattern in terms of his diminishing returns once he gets to about that 70 to 75 pitch count. He just isn't very good at that point. He's completely dominant in the early going, but not so much later on. So the way to use this for live betting is looking at guys who do well first time through the order and then progressively get worse. If these guys are ahead early, there's a good opportunity to maybe jump in on an underdog because their charts say they're going to get worse as the game goes along, which means the opponent's going to have a decent chance to catch up. And all this stuff, by the way, is fairly easily obtainable. There's a couple of sites that I think are a must if you're a daily baseball handicapper. Fangraphs.com. It's free. If you want to eliminate the ads, you buy an annual membership. It's not very much. It's like, I don't know, $20 or something like that. And baseballreference.com, same thing there. They have oodles and oodles of stats, and you can assign yourself a routine, a daily routine. I'm going to go through this, and this. And all that stuff's right there at your fingertips, whether it's game scores for the pitchers, some of the patterns I talked about. You can break down all kinds of stats to see what they're throwing and how they're throwing it. They are tremendous resources for any baseball handicapper. And to me, I don't know how anybody works without them.
Great stuff, as always, from Dave. If you're interested in buying Dave's baseball package, head over to wagertalk.com. In the experts drop-down menu, select Dave Koken. He's got a myriad of things for sale up there.
That's
Dave,
great.
Congratulations on a hot start here for the early on in the baseball season. I owe you at least a couple of dinners.
Cool. I'm in for that. I love free food.
Winning comes in all shapes and sizes. Every day there's an opportunity for a win, just like scratchers from the Virginia Lottery. Every day grab and go, every day giftable, every day fun. It's where anticipation meets instant gratification, and they're satisfying to scratch no matter the outcome. Like the new Virginia Lottery Scratcher Colossal Cash. It's loaded with $100 to $500 prizes. Now, that's an everyday win. Drive to the nearest Virginia Lottery retail location and pick up a scratcher today. Odds of winning any prize, 1 in 3.21.
Been thinking about McDonald's all day. Can't get it off my mind. I can already taste it. Ooh, got my mind on my mouth and my mouth ready for some Mickey D's deal.
There's a deal for every moment at McDonald's.
Right now, get 2 of your favorites for just $3.50. Mix and match a classic McChicken, a hot and spicy McChicken, or a juicy McDouble. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal. Single item at regular price.